is Shlomo Zuckier, and I learned in the yeshiva from 2005 to 2009. In Parsha Shelach, we have the story with the meraglim, or actually called the tarim in our Parsha. And as we know, the meraglim, the 10 meraglim report that it's too dangerous, the enemies are too strong, and they're scared to move forward. They say not to enter Eretz Yisrael. Lo nuchal la'alos el ha'am ki chazak hu mimenu. On the other hand, the other side, Yoshua and Kalev, said, Anachnu na'alev v'nilchamnu, k'chol asher tzivanu Hashem Elokeinu. And they said, Alo na'alev yarashnu osa. It sounds like there are two different aspects here, two different points here. Number one, the fact that Hashem wanted Bnei Yisrael to enter Eretz Yisrael. And this no one was disagreeing about. Yoshua and Kalev said, k'chol asher tzivanu Hashem Elokeinu. But the debate wasn't over whether to enter Eretz Yisrael. The debate was whether now was the right time, whether it was safe enough, or whether it was too dangerous. And the 10 meraglim said, Lo nuchal la'alos el ha'am, it's too dangerous, we can't possibly conquer the nation there. That's why they had scouted out the people. They had checked, Hachazaku, harafeh, hama'atu imrav, how strong are they, how many are they, how conquerable are the cities. Whereas Yoshua and Kalev, they said, Alo na'alev yarashnu osa, they said we can conquer them. The debate is not whether this in theory is the right thing to do, but whether one should go forward and fight, or whether the odds were against Bnei Yisrael and it was not worth doing so. That was the first story we have in our Parsha, and almost immediately after that, after Hashem punishes the meraglim and all of Bnei Yisrael and condemns them to staying in the desert for 40 years, we find the Ma'apilim, a group from Bnei Yisrael who were eager to go up, Vayapilu la'alos, they quickly and forcefully go up to Eretz Yisrael anyway, instead of staying in the desert, and they die as well. And the question is, what is the difference exactly between the meraglim and the ma'apilim? It sounds like it's almost two opposite stories. The meraglim are punished for being insufficiently confident, for deciding that the risks are against them. Whereas the ma'apilim, it seems like, made the exact opposite mistake. They were overconfident. They thought too much of their abilities that they'd be able to be victorious. Now, one major difference between the meraglim and the ma'apilim is the question of whether Hashem is on their side. Moshe tells the ma'apilim, Al ta'alu ki ein Hashem bekir bechem, and certainly without Hashem in their side, the odds are less in their favor. But that can't be the full explanation, because even Moshe doesn't say, because Hashem is not on your side, you'll be punished. Moshe says, Unfaltem becharev, you'll, by nature, al derech hateva, you'll lose the war. That's the ultimate reason why they died. Without Hashem's extra help, by nature, they lost to the enemy. And the story with the meraglim is also, it sounds like they were supposed to evaluate al derech hateva. How strong is the nation? How conquerable are the cities? It doesn't say, the meraglim weren't told Hashem is on your side, so the odds don't matter. They were told evaluate the odds. So aren't both of these the same exact story? You're supposed to evaluate al derech hateva, whether one can conquer or not. And if so, why is it that the meraglim are punished for not going forward, whereas the ma'apilim are punished precisely for going forward? And it seems like the difference, the additional difference, of course, having Hashem on your side makes a big difference. But it sounds like in terms of the evaluation and the decision they made, the difference between the meraglim and the ma'apilim is about the degree of confidence that one should have in their action, finding the right balance in terms of confidence. And in the case of the meraglim, with Hashem on their side, having looked at the odds, Yoshua and Kalev were right. A reasonable perspective, a reasonable balanced view would say, Lo na'aleh, we are able to conquer. And the meraglim were being unnecessarily scared, unnecessarily underconfident, and that was their failing. Whereas with the ma'apilim, as Moshe warned them, Al ta'alu, it's too dangerous to go up. You will not succeed al derech hateva, and certainly without Hashem's help. And they go up anyways. This overconfidence is their downfall. This debate in the time of the Midbar continues to this very day. In the last 150 years, with the advent of secular Zionism, the question was, how should frum people relate to this new movement? And some people said, Alo na'aleh, let's go forward. Let's try to conquer Eretz Yisrael through diplomatic means, through military means, and almost may have even forgotten about Hashem. Certainly on the secular Zionism side, that was the approach. And the other approach was to say, we don't involve ourselves in state building. We don't involve ourselves in the war. We have to remain absolutely passive. And in some ways, this parallels the two extremes, the extremes of the ma'apilim, who go up regardless of the odds, regardless of having Hashem on their side, on the one hand, and the meraglim, who say they may have even had faith in Hashem, but they just said, this is too risky. They lacked the proper balance, the proper degree of confidence to go forward. And one needs to take the appropriate middle path, to have the right amount of confidence, to weigh the odds rationally in a level-headed way, keeping in mind whether Hashem is on one side or not, certainly, and also having a very reasoned view of the reality in front of them, not being overconfident and not being underconfident either. There's a very nice quote from Rav Lichtenstein in his article about religious Zionism. He says one of the major cruces dividing Zionists from non-Zionist orthodoxy concerns at its core a theological issue, the division of the historical drama between providential control and human initiative. How much do us humans play a role in history, and how much do we leave it up to Hashem? And these are two extremes. One could say that there's an extreme version of Zionism, of religious Zionism, that is all about marching forward, regardless of the facts on the ground, regardless of the odds. And there's another extreme that says to always be passive, to not involve oneself even in necessary actions for the protection of Am Yisrael. And it would seem that the proper approach, as our Parsha indicates, is to take that middle path, to go forward when appropriate, when necessary, to make sure to weigh the odds, to make sure to keep in mind the importance of having Hashem on our side. And as today we are in the middle of Am Yisrael is in the middle of a very challenging war, especially in the last few days. Many very bold decisions have been taken, and we should all daven that these were and will be the appropriate measured decisions, that they should lead to a Yeshua for Klal Yisrael, and that today we should continue in the path of Yoshua and Kalev and Moshe, of making reasoned decisions that will support and protect the flourishing of Klal Yisrael for many millennia ahead. Have a good Shabbos.